Ready? Good evening, everyone, and a belated Happy New Year. I'd like to call this January 4th, 2020 organizational meeting to order. And the first order of business will be the oath of office for the newly elected board members. If Mrs. Grieve and Mayor Bernello from Highland Heights would come forward, I believe he's going to swear her in.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jolene Grieve,
I, Jolene Grieve,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as board member
as board member
in and for
in and for
the said Mayfield City School District,
the said Mayfield City School District,
Cuyahoga County,
Cuyahoga County,
Ohio,
Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance
and in accordance
with the laws now in effect
with the laws now and in effect
and hereafter
and hereafter
to be enacted
to be enacted
during my continuance in said office
during my continuance in said office
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, you can sign it, and then we'll have it notarized.
Yep.
Thank you, Bernello. At this time, I'd like to ask newly elected Ron Finaro and Jimmy Tracy to step forward, and Mr. Snyder will swear them in at this time.
In fact, can I ask you to stand next to Ron? Over here. Yes, we can do it over here, so if you guys would like, I'm going to remove my mask. If you guys would like to do the same. There's a spot in here in which you'll need to state your name. I'm going to ask Mr. Bernardo to state his first, and then Mr. Tressi to state your second. So please raise your right hand. I'll administer the oath of office for board member. So I, and then please insert or state your name.
I, Ronald Finaro.
And Mr. Tressi,
I, James S. Teresi.
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge my duties as board member
discharge my duties as board member
in and for the said Mayfield City School District,
in and for the said
Mayfield City
Mayfield School District,
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance with the laws now
and in accordance with the laws now
in effect and hereafter to be enacted,
and hereafter to be enacted,
in effect
and in effect and hereafter
after to be enacted during my continuance in said office
during my continuance in said office
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You guys would please be so kind as to sign those oaths and then hand them to me. Thank you, Bernardo. And Julian, if I may have yours as well. I'll handle that. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the newly sworn-in board members. And at this time, if Mr. Snyder is ready, I'd like roll call.
Mr. Finaro.
Here.
Mrs. Grieve.
Here.
Ms. Grosek.
Here.
Mr. Huss.
Here.
And Mr. Tressi.
Here.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to take nominations for election of board president for the 2022 year.
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Sue Grosek, please.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other nominations? None being heard, we will go with Mrs. Grosek. So,
Maybe we take the roll call.
do the roll call. Thank you, roll call.
Mr. Fenaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Tressi.
Yes.
Do we do swearing in now?
Let's proceed to the vice president,
Oh,
if that's
yes,
okay, and then
okay.
we'll swear both officers in at the same time.
Very good. At this time, we'd like to take nominations for vice president for the 2022 school year. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Jimmy Teresi.
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations? None being heard, we will accept Mr. Tressi.
And may I call?
And roll call.
Yep. Mr. Fenaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Tressi.
Yes.
Now, if we could have the swearing in, please, for the oath of office.
Here's the vice president oath of office and the board president oath of office. If I may ask both of you to stand over here as well. And we will make every effort not to get tripped up in the in and aforesaid area. So again, both oaths are the same. However, I'm going to ask that in the section where you need to identify who you are, I ask Ms. Grosek to go first, followed by Mr. Tressi. And then when we get to the section identifying the duty, I ask Ms. Grosek to start with her duty, and then Mr. Tressi to indicate your duty. So you'll do them, she'll go first in those two identifications, but we'll repeat the oath at the same time. I ask that you both please raise your right hand. These will be the oath of offices for board president and board vice president. So I, and please Ms. Grosek,
I, Sue Grosek,
I, Jimmy Teresi,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties.
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
Now, Ms. Grosek, will you
as
identify?
board
And
president
Mr. Tressi?
as Vice President
In and for the said Mayfield City School District,
in and for the said Mayfield City School District,
Cuyahoga
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
Cuyahoga County, Ohio,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance with the laws now in effect
and
and in accordance with the laws now in effect
and hereafter to be enacted
and hereafter to be enacted
during my continuance in said office
during my continuance in said office
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
and until my successor is chosen and qualified.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
If I could ask both of you to sign those oaths, and I will put them in the official record. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, so I believe that moves us to the regularly scheduled calendar,
Yep, item B.
item B. On the right side. Are there any modifications to that schedule of meetings?
No? None here?
No,
Okay.
that looks good.
Then I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fenaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
Mr. Tressi.
Yes.
Next, we have the order of voting on motions and resolutions for 2022. Motion to approve.
So, second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
And I put myself out of order. Sorry.
It's okay. We are on now other business 3. And it's a request approval of the following resolutions pertaining to the treasurer. Eddie.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
If I may just quickly, for the sake of providing explanation, these resolutions are ministerial in nature. They are essentially giving me the authority to work within the budget that you approve annually, and for us to follow certain things such as identifying the law firms for which the board will be utilizing, establishing a board service fund for which the board will be utilizing for its professional development and its own, I guess, personal growth, and other things glamorous such as paying bills. So just so for Mrs. Grieve and the sake of the audience that might be listening, that these are part of the organizational components of the district, not necessarily taking action on legislation impacting day-to-day operations.
Okay, and so we had a motion and second?
Yes.
So we need roll call.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
And Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
Next, we have the request for waive of the reading of official minutes at regularly scheduled meetings. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
And Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
Next, we have the Budget General Fund Bond and Permanent Improvement Funds fiscal year from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
If I may just quickly, this is what's known as the tax budget. This is our budget that we submit to the county fiscal office to basically confirm the need for the levies that are currently on the books, those that have been approved by the electorate. So this is just simply, again, a ministerial function annually that we're required to do.
And roll call.
Yes, please. So, Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
And Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
And next, we have the request of approval of resolutions pertaining to the superintendent, which I will say is approximately the same as was for the treasurer, giving the superintendent the power to move forward with day-to-day business.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Yay.
Roll call.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
And Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
And next, we have the approval of resolutions pertaining to the Director of People Services, again, giving that individual the right to move forward with day-to-day business. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
And Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
The next section is a resolution pertaining to board president appointments. And I would like to say that this year we have reorganized it to go along with our 4 pillars of learning. And so we have divided it into those sections. So the first one is student learning and academic excellence. And I would like to nominate Jimmy to be the chair of that, and Jolene, the board member, assisting him. For fiscal stewardship and let's stop there because the superintendent has administrative appointments as well.
Thank you, Madam President. In congruence with what the President has recommended, we would also like to appoint the following superintendents to the Committee for Student Learning and Academic Excellence, and that is Patrick Ward, and Denise Serino. Thank you.
Next, we have the Fiscal Stewardship and Operations. I would like to appoint Ron as the presiding chair and the board member Al Hess.
And Madam President, if I may, we would like to appoint or ask Mr. Schneider and Mr. Netlick to serve on those committees.
Next, we have Community Relations and Family Partnership. I would like to nominate the presiding chair to be Jolene and the board member Ron Fanaro.
And Madam President, if I may, we would like to appoint Lori Euler and myself, Mike Barnes, to be a part of that committee.
Next, we have the Growing Leadership, Talent, and Professional Capacity. For that, the presiding chair would be Al Hess and board member Jimmy Teresi.
And from the administration, Madam President, that would be Andy Fetchick and Patrick Ward.
I might add that as board president, I also can serve on all of those committees, so therefore that is why I was careful not to put myself there in any of the named places. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Fanaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
and Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
Next, we are moving to the approval of board goals for the calendar year 2022. I might express at this time that board goals are goals for the board. So this is not district goals and should not be confused with them, but instead the guiding goals for us as board members to do our work for the year. And this year we have added a goal and have placed that goal as goal number 2 in order. So if you're looking back at last year's goals, 2 and 2 won't match because it is a new goal and we've slid everything else down. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Fanaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Grieve,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
and Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
If I might, Madam President, the month of January is Board Appreciation Month, and we will formally be recognizing and celebrating the board at our regularly scheduled January 19th meeting. So just wanted to say congratulations, and from all of us, we thank you for what you do, and look forward to us recognizing you formally at the January 19th meeting.
I was hoping you didn't forget about it.
Thank you.
With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Fanaro,
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes. Mrs. Grieve, sorry.
It's out of order, my bad.
Sorry.
Mrs. Grieve, may I retract Ms. Grosek for a moment and jump to Mrs. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek,
Yes.
Mr. Hess,
Yes.
and Mr. Teresi.
Yes.
It's so hard with another G in the